Well, hello. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another live. We have a special guest with us today who many of you may know, but those of you who have not met her, you're going to love her. This is Christy. And Christy, tell us who you're with and why we're chatting with you today. What's your business?
Hi everybody. I'm Christy Bentliff, and I am the owner and coach at Leap to Solutions. Been partnering with this group for about 20 plus years. Absolutely love the collaboration that we have, and excited to be a dental consultant, especially at this time when I think a lot of dental practices are really needing some guidance.
Yeah, for sure. And that's really why we're excited to have you on today is we hear a lot of the pain points that the offices are having. And so we figured let's just chat with one of our coaches or consultants and find out from your perspective how you guys can help a practice. So let's just start with why would a practice decide to invest in a consultant or coach?
Oh, I absolutely love this question. I get excited when it's delivered to me. So, dentists love their field. They absolutely have a passion for working on teeth, creating beautiful smiles. But when it comes to the nuts and bolts of the practice, in terms of crunching the numbers and reviewing the key performance indicators, and they're not so keen on that. But in order to be a great leader of your practice and owner, you have to be passionate about both ends of the spectrum, or at least on the one that you don't really like so much, have a keen understanding. So that helps you identify what's working and what's not.
Right. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses, right?
Yeah, because in dental school they don't really teach you the real world of the business end of dentistry because they're focused so much on the clinical aspect. I wish this would be a curriculum that they would focus more on before they turn them loose in the real world.
Right. And I'm sure that for the especially the new dentists coming, the first few years in practice, it's hard to juggle the clinical side and learning the business side because those are both two separate mindsets in different worlds. And so,
Yes.
but even the established practices, I think there's been a lot of practices who have gotten by without having any professional help for a lot of years.
Yes.
Until the storm hits, and then they go, uh-oh, now we're in trouble because we've been skating for so long because we were
Yes.
busy or because we were successful enough or we were profitable enough until something rocked our world, and then they realized they didn't really have anyone in place to navigate it with them.
Right. And I think it's real important because just as you mentioned, a lot of times they are getting in the reactive mode. Something's not working, it's a crisis. They're trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden they've got their anxiety levels up and it's feeding through the practice. But I think that in order to be extremely successful and aware of your business, you need to be proactive more than reactive. Kind of developing your practice, honing the skills of it so that you're being able to identify those areas that aren't working quicker than when it's becoming a crisis, because nobody likes to operate in that mindset. And for us consultants, it's hard for us to calm you down so that we can start figuring out what your needs are. But we're really good at that. So no worries on that end. But so what I would say to somebody that's thinking about or on the fence about using or getting a consultant is this. If you look at any high performing athlete that is, whether it's the NFL or it's the, NBL or whatever the case may be, they have coaches. They've got coaches helping them fine tune, what they need to do in order to be at their peak performance. And that's where we are. We're here to get you to that peak performing status.
That's actually a really good point when you do that comparison, because you're right. Even any really top performing mega $1 million businesses often have someone in their court walking them through it and walking them doing a consulting or a coaching. Very rarely are they doing all the decision making on their own. So that's a good point. So when do you think would be the time? You mentioned not being reactive, being more proactive. And I know that as a coach, you probably prefer when a doctor calls you before they're literally on the edge of the cliff, call us when you're not quite on the ledge. But when is a good time to start consulting with an expert? Like, should they wait until they're seeing a danger zone, or when would be the best time to start talking to a consultant and see if you need to invest?
Well, if especially for dentists that are taking over a practice, they're getting into their ownership role. They're getting a practice or building it from scratch or inheriting one because they've been associate. Now they're buying it. I think that is a great starting point because this is oftentimes where you're really trying to put your mark on the practice, developing it to your culture and changing things because you've got your vision of where your practice is and where you want it to go. So I think that is a good starting point as anybody that's really just kind of easing into that ownership role and needing some guidance on that part.
Right. I think a lot of the new owners may be the ones who realize they need some help. But what about the established practices that COVID kicked the stool out from under them? Have you noticed a lot of them deciding that they need help where they thought they had it under control before?
Yes, I have because they are really at that point now where they're hyper focused on their practices and they are starting to see the red flags, the warning signs, whether that be challenges with staff because they can't find staff to replace the ones that didn't come back from COVID. And therefore, the ones that are there are carrying their load and other people's load. And so tensions are rising. They're starting to see maybe that they're not attracting new patients, so therefore there's no growth in terms of their practice that way. Or they're starting to see that they're losing patients and not really knowing why, whether they're going out of network or maybe they didn't like the vibe in the office. You know, they need people to help them identify where those problems are. And other times they we'll see that their production and collection numbers are low and they're trying to figure out what's going on and they don't know that it might be low case acceptance, scheduling issues, financial options that aren't available to patients. So they need or they haven't raised their fees. And then the other thing is they may have everything looking good on this other end of dentistry on the practice management side. You're getting new patients, but on the other end, it's not profitable. So you're needing to help somebody come in and just be able to have that view of that global view. We can see it on both sides of the spectrum. And now let's identify what's working and not. And maybe some of the systems they have are working and need to be tweaked, or maybe it's time for us to suggest some new ways of doing things and set you up with some systems to be able to monitor it.
Right. I think when you're in the thick of it, when you're in the day-to-day caring for patients answering phones, it's hard to do maybe the business self-analysis that it needs because you're putting out the day-to-day urgency, but there's a bigger bird eye view that needs to be done. And
right.
Practices, especially if there's, like you mentioned, team changes or upheaval, they just may not have the mental or physical time to look at that, and they may need to get someone else to evaluate it. So what about the practices that have, they have the office manager that they really, really like. She does an amazing job. They have a lot of respect for her. They have some other team members who are, back office who are willing to look at the whole picture and jump in. Why shouldn't an office just try to do it on their own? I mean, a lot of offices say we have enough people. If we all band together, we don't need any help. What would you say to the ones that want to tackle it on their own? Why should they still consider consulting?
Well, honey, we have all had conversations with our good friend Google, haven't we? Doesn't he just or she just give you the most awesome information? And we can all snoop around. I've done it myself, and you'll be like, oh, that. So you can find information out on your own. But the problem is, who is going to hold you accountable to putting this plan in action? So every good coach in any business, in any arena, will hold you accountable. They're going to be walking you through this journey. They are going to be asking you to do homework so that they can see and identify if the key performance indicators, if they're working, and then identifying what's not working and how do we need to tweak it. They'll be able to identify what team members are on board, because let's face it, when you're trying to move forward, if you have one part of that chain that is not, working or together and making it solid, it makes it harder for the rest of the team to move because that negative energy.
Right. So if they have a team that they're happy with and they feel like is very supportive, do you think it actually working with a consultant helps them get even better results? I mean, sometimes doctors feel like they should only bring in a consultant if they're having challenges with their team. But what if they do have that kind of dream team? Do you think they can get higher return on investment from with a coach at that point?
Oh, I can speak from experience. So in addition to my consulting business, I also work as a practice administrator for a very high performing dental team. And so we brought them in, and I will say this, if you've got an awesome team and you bring a consultant in, for us anyway, we saw the greatest shift in terms of the solidifying the team and syncing everybody together, the greatest shift in terms of our production and collection ratios rising, and just being able to implement a lot of new things into the practice because we were learning, we were growing together. Sometimes dentists will go to a CE or they'll send their manager, and then they come back and try to put that into place, sort of like looking at it on Google. But it doesn't have the same effect as when the team is learning and growing together.
Yeah, I think often the natural mindset of some practices is wait until we're seeing the red flags and then bring someone in. When if they are proactive and they bring it in before the danger zone or before they're worried about their production numbers not making payroll or before it gets bad, that's when they can really see exponential growth, because you're not in such a reactive mode, but you can really focus on what can you do going forward to really grow the practice.
And you can enjoy the process. And all of the consultants have this way of engaging with you. They are engaging the team and they are able to relate to you because they've experienced it in some shape or form. So they can relate, and then they can flip that script and say, but when we change this changed the whole focus, the picture changed. And I think that is important, is getting syncing with a consultant that's relatable to you and to your team, because when you fit together like that, then you're learning, you're more receptive to the information that's being given to you.
Yeah, that's a good point, is finding the right fit for your practice's personality. And I know, if I was in a practice, I would love having your personality around because you are so much fun. So if someone wants to reach out to you and get some consulting advice or find out how you could help their practice, do you have a way that they can reach you?
Yes, they can reach me. Go to my website, leaptosolutions.com, or email leaptosolutions@gmail.com, or my phone number, 919-798-2116. And I am available for virtual consulting, telephone, whatever the case may be that fits your needs. And we can just have a chat and see if I can, offer you some assistance. And if I feel that I'm not the niche for you, then I know I can pass you to someone that pass that football off to somebody else.
Perfect. And we'll put your contact information in the chat here so people can grab it. And then I would love to have a follow-up conversation, because I feel like this could be something we could talk on for hours. So let's do another follow-up conversation to do kind of a round 2 of why someone should hire a consultant, and more questions. I know that I get some frequently asked questions from our doctors when they're talking about if they should or why they should. So everyone stay tuned for part 2 with Christy. But thanks so much for joining us, Christy. You're so much fun. We always love having you as a guest. So
I love it too.
We'll be in touch soon.
Okay, great. See you guys.
Bye.